Keir Starmer has unleashed on Nigel Farage in Parliament after the Reform UK leader travelled to the US to expose the...
Mr Speaker, let me turn now to the 3 deals this government has struck. A trade deal with the world's fastest growing economy, India. A trade deal with the world's richest economy.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. We at Reform, a party that is alive and kicking, very much enjoyed your speech on Monday. You seem to be learning a very great deal from us. But can I encourage you, please, to go further?
What an absolutely explosive moment we just witnessed on live television. Barely a minute ago, Nigel Farage went head-to-head with Keir Starmer, and let me tell you, the exchange has already sent shockwaves through the political landscape of the UK. This wasn't just a polite debate or a routine back and forth between 2 party leaders. No, this was a collision course, raw, unfiltered, and undeniably captivating. Farage didn't just challenge Starmer, he absolutely tore into him with a relentless barrage of points that Starmer struggled to deflect. Within seconds of the clash, social media began to erupt, clips started circulating everywhere, and people were already calling this the most dramatic political moment of the year. The tension had been building for weeks, with Farage increasingly positioning himself as the voice of discontent in Britain, rallying not just his Reform UK base, but also drawing in frustrated voters from across the political spectrum. Starmer, on the other hand, has been trying to maintain this image of calm competence, positioning Labour as the sensible alternative to years of Conservative chaos. But tonight, that veneer of control was shattered. The camera caught the exact moment Farage leaned forward, locked eyes with Starmer, and delivered the line that instantly set the stage for everything that followed. It wasn't just the words, it was the tone, the confidence, and the sheer refusal to back down that made viewers sit up and pay attention. Farage went straight for the jugular, hammering Starmer on immigration, on energy policies, and on what he called Labour's cowardice in the face of real problems. He accused Starmer of playing safe politics, of pandering to Brussels, and of failing to stand up for ordinary British citizens. Starmer attempted to respond with his usual lawyerly precision, calmly listing policies, defending Labour's vision, and pointing out Farage's history of political stunts. But the problem for Starmer was simple: the performance. While he had facts on paper, Farage had the fire in his delivery. Every time Starmer tried to return to his notes, Farage would interrupt with sharp one-liners that landed like punches in a prize fight. At one point, Farage raised his voice and said, "Keir, the people of this country don't want another lawyerly lecture. They want someone who actually understands what it's like to live outside your Westminster bubble." The audience gasped, and even the moderator struggled to keep control of the room. It was a theatrical moment, but it was also deeply political. Farage managed to frame himself as the outsider champion of the people, while painting Starmer as detached, elitist, and out of touch. Whether or not the characterisation is fair, in the world of televised politics, perception matters more than policy detail, and on that front, Farage scored a devastating blow. And what's remarkable is how quickly the aftermath unfolded. Within seconds, hashtags like hashtag Farage vs Starmer and hashtag UK politics were trending worldwide. Commentators from both the left and the right rushed to put their spin on what just happened. Some praised Farage for exposing what they see as the hollowness of Labour's promises. Others criticised him for being aggressive and accused him of turning serious policy debates into cheap theatrics. But no matter which side you're on, the undeniable truth is that Farage dominated the stage in a way that left Starmer visibly rattled. And that is not the image Labour wants right now, especially with polls tightening and a restless electorate looking for authenticity and strength. The fascinating part here is that Farage has nothing to lose and everything to gain. He's not the Prime Minister in waiting, he's the disruptor. That gives him a unique advantage because he can swing wildly, throw punches, and shake up the status quo without being tied down to the same expectations as Starmer. And that's precisely what he did. He exploited Starmer's careful, cautious brand of politics by contrasting it with his own unapologetic boldness. In a way, it was a masterclass in political theatre, the kind of performance that grabs headlines, fuels memes, and shifts narratives overnight. Now, we need to look at the bigger picture. Why does this matter? Because moments like this can change the trajectory of campaigns. Starmer has been enjoying a steady lead in the polls, largely because of public fatigue with the Conservatives. But if Farage continues to carve out these viral moments, he doesn't just damage the Tories, he puts Labour in an uncomfortable position as well. Suddenly, voters are asking, does Starmer really have the fight in him to lead the country through turbulent times? If he can't hold his ground against Farage in a studio, how will he handle negotiations with world leaders, with crises, with the unexpected? These are the kinds of questions that seep into the public consciousness after a televised clash like this. And the style difference couldn't be more stark. Starmer is methodical, sometimes even dry. He appeals to the rational side of voters, the ones who want stability after chaos. But Farage taps into something visceral. He uses simple language, vivid imagery, and emotional triggers that resonate immediately. Tonight's showdown was the perfect example of that contrast. Where Starmer was explaining details about funding allocations, Farage was painting pictures of ordinary families struggling to pay bills, while politicians, in their ivory towers, looked the other way. That emotional appeal landed, and you could almost feel the momentum shift in real time as the debate unfolded. But let's also be clear, Farage's dominance in the debate does not necessarily mean he's winning over the majority of the electorate. What it does mean is that he has once again succeeded in inserting himself into the heart of the national conversation. He thrives on being the disruptor, the agitator, the man who forces others to react. And tonight, Keir Starmer was forced onto the defensive. That's why this matters so much. It's not about who had the better policy document, it's about who commanded the stage, who captured attention, and who left viewers talking long after the camera stopped rolling. Already, political insiders are speculating about the fallout. Will Labour change its approach, allowing Starmer to show more passion, more aggression, more humanity? Or will they double down on the calm and steady strategy that has brought them this far? On the other hand, Farage's camp is celebrating, framing tonight as proof that their message resonates beyond their traditional base. They're already clipping the highlights, pumping them out across social media and energising their supporters. The battle lines are being redrawn, and this clash could well mark the beginning of a new phase in British politics. And here's the kicker. It wasn't just about substance or performance. It was about symbolism. When Farage pointed his finger and accused Starmer of being afraid to say what he really believes, it cut deeper than just a debating point. It spoke to a broader frustration in the country, that politicians aren't being straight with the people, that they dodge, that they equivocate, fair or not. The accusation sticks because it plays into existing perceptions of Starmer as cautious to the point of evasive. Farage weaponised that perception tonight, and the impact will ripple far beyond this one event. So where do we go from here? The immediate future will be dominated by spin. Labour will argue that Starmer kept his cool under pressure and showed he's above the noise. Farage's supporters will argue he exposed the hollowness of Labour's message. Journalists and pundits will spend hours dissecting every line, every facial expression, every reaction from the crowd. But what really matters is how the public digest it. Did viewers see Starmer as steady or as weak? Did they see Farage as brave or as reckless? The answers to those questions will shape not just tomorrow's headlines, but possibly the entire trajectory of the next election. And that's why tonight matters so much. In the space of a few minutes, Farage managed to ignite a firestorm that could alter the dynamics of British politics. Whether you love him or loathe him, you cannot deny the man knows how to command attention. And as long as he can do that, he will continue to be a force that both Labour and the Conservatives cannot ignore. This was more than a debate. It was a defining moment, one that will be replayed, discussed and remembered for months to come.